On June 17 and June 18, for those of you on the East Coast, there's a new moon in Gemini making a square to magical and mystical Neptune. This can bring uncertainty, confusion, or incredible clarity about your path. What does this mean for you? That's what we're going to talk about. Hi everyone, I'm Donna Stellhorn, your practical astrologer, and today we are talking about the new moon. It's on June 17, or for some time zones, it's on June 18, and it's at 26 degrees of Gemini, and we are going to do a short overview, and then we're going to go sign by sign. So this is the new moon and an opportunity to start something new, and it's making a square to Neptune. Now, you can probably picture that a square is something coming at you from a perpendicular angle, so kind of like being T-boned. So as this planetary energy pushes in that direction, it can push you onto a new path. Neptune's one of the outer planets, and so it has a positive side and a shadow side. On the positive side, it's about imagination and vision and being able to compassionately and empathetically understand other people. On the other side, it can bring hypersensitivity to your environment or make you want to escape into addictive behaviors or towards addictive substances. Or it can just cause you to feel confused and uncertain. Well, you might ask, well, which one's it going to be? And the answer to that is you get to choose. See, you can't necessarily affect all the things that are happening in your life, but you can affect how you perceive those or how they fit into your story. And so you can choose to be overwhelmed by them and that have them turn you around and around and run to your favorite addictive behavior, or you can use this energy quite differently, and that would be to sit and envision the type of future that you want. You might journal about the possibilities of where you might live and what you might do for a living and who you might be with. And then Neptune's going to give you amazing insight into your path. It's going to take you to that future place and then show you the way you got there. So let me give you a practical example. Let's say you want to start a business, but you don't know yet what business you want to be in or how to get started. So you might use this energy over the next 2 weeks to picture different types of businesses you could be in. So you might, for example, picture yourself that you're doing a consulting business or coaching. So you're seeing people one-on-one. You might picture yourself in a business where you're packing orders and getting those ready to ship. Or you could picture yourself in front of a group of people who are angel investors and you are pitching them so you can get funding. Now here's where Neptune really can be useful, because if you start to do this visualization and then 2 minutes later you find yourself playing a video game or in front of the refrigerator, then you know that you've gotten scared and the shadow side of Neptune has taken you into some self-soothing behavior. But you could also use this Neptune to envision more details about what it is that you're doing in the future, and that will help illuminate your path. So you might say to yourself, all right, I'm visualizing that I'm doing consultations. What kind of consultations am I doing? Where are we doing these? What are we talking about? Who is the person that I am doing these consultations for? Or perhaps you are thinking that you are packing goods. So is it something that you made? Is it something that is electronic? Is it something that people will consume? And then once the box is packed, does somebody come and pick these up for you? Are you taking these to the post office? Does somebody come in and load a great big truck and send it out to different stores? Or if you are doing angel investing, like you are sitting there and pitching these investors, then what is this big thing that you are trying to accomplish? What is this bigger goal? And then maybe you're thinking about going back to your team and talking to them about, this is how much money we got, and this is where we're going to open offices, and this is the projects that we want to work on first. Now, Neptune is quite prominent over this 2-week period because it's part of the new moon energy, but you have Neptune in your chart already, and so you can access this energy long after this new moon. So even if you don't want to do one of these big things, you might say to yourself, all right, I'm just going to start small. And so you might practice with just something simple, like if you said, all right, I'm going to go on a picnic. And then you visualize yourself at the picnic, but then you say to yourself, oh, we need a blanket to sit on. And then you say, oh, we have plates, so we must put plates in the basket. Oh, is there a bottle opener for whatever drink you're drinking? So each and every step you are visualizing, and then you're creating a plan. That is one of the best uses for Neptune. In this video, we are doing tropical Western astrology. You want to listen to your rising sign or your ascending sign. This is going to tell you what's happening for you during this 2-week period. If you don't know your rising sign or ascending sign, you can send me your birth information and I'll send you a copy of your chart. There is information on that in the description. And if you want to know more about what's coming up for you, I do readings. I also have some books out. I write columns for horoscope.com and astrology.com. I also have a couple of video courses, one on reading the tarot the natural way. And so I've been doing a monthly tarot video, and there's a playlist of tarot videos on my channel. And also, if you have a question about astrology, especially astrology in general, leave me a comment and I might do a video on it. Okay, let's go sign by sign. Okay, Aries, you guys are doing this new moon in your house of communication, thinking process, also physical activities, like bike riding and dancing and singing and those sort of things. And it's making a square to that Neptune in your house of intuition and psychic ability. And so where you can use the Neptune this time is to envision yourself being more intuitive, having psychic abilities, or maybe doing a spiritual business. This may be something where you are creating something behind the scenes. So like writing a screenplay or, envisioning yourself working on a piece of art. This is also where you are removing the boundaries between you and the universe itself. So that could be used for anything such as, feeling the presence of God to doing astral projection. So these are some of the things you might envision for yourself over this 2-week period, and then you could extend it beyond that. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, even though Mars is not making an aspect to the sun, Venus and Mars are just like little cozying up to each other in your house of romance. And so this is an indication that there could be some romantic possibilities. Maybe this is someone you've already met and you're just starting to get into this relationship. It's also possible that you're meeting somebody, but maybe this is someone you've been thinking about either in abstract terms, or you have their acquaintance and now things are heating up a little bit. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Venus is making a conjunction to Mars. You have some really good energy, especially if you want to add a little bit of romance and adventure into your relationship. So this is a time where maybe you want to carve out some, private time, send the kids off to do something else so that you guys can spend some time together. This is really good energy for having a good time. Now, when it comes to friendships, Mars is making a square to Uranus, so there is some opportunities, but some action is needed. And so that might mean that there's an opportunity for a friendship, but you need to drop everything and go to this person and, do whatever you guys were going to do. Or go to the meeting or go to the party, but it may feel like you have to change directions quickly to do this, and yet you could have some real benefits. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from that Venus, which is in your house of creativity and risk-taking. And it's interesting because it's making kind of a wide inconjunct to Saturn, which is there's going to be a feeling inside of you of some insecurities or feeling not ready. And yet, if you move forward, you could get some really good results. So this might mean that you're putting out something that you've done creatively, or you have a creative idea and you're talking to others about it, or you're taking a risk in some way, and that's what pays off. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, even though Venus is not making an aspect with Pluto, it's a very strong money chart for you. The North Node is still in your house of money. Jupiter's there, Uranus is there, and we do count this 5th house where Venus is as kind of a money house as well. And so there is more money coming in. I do think that, again, you need to take the risks, or you need to step forward and do something that's at least a little bit outside your comfort zone to get that extra money. This isn't about taking huge risks. Of course, you're going to be smart about this and, think things through, but there's still some good energy here for making more money than usual over this next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that's like a paycheck, Venus is not making an aspect with Uranus. And because of Venus's placement in this area of wanting to have fun and creative things and to, go outside the box, there's less, I think, of an interest in focusing on your current career and maybe looking outside of that. So if you're going to talk to your boss, think of other things like maybe adding different duties or maybe getting something in management, and look at progressing in your career that way versus the actual cash. Okay, Taurus, you guys are doing this new moon in your house of money, and that's going to bring new money opportunities. We'll talk about that in a second. And it's making a square to Neptune in your house of friendships and community. And so where Neptune can dissolve the boundaries is between you and your future friends. This is about, being able to meet people where you can have deep and meaningful relationships with lots of people from different walks of life. And so that's where the Neptune can help you, because you can visualize going into situations to meet people or visualize a friendship getting stronger. And then Neptune can illuminate that path for you. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Venus is making a sextile to Mercury, and Venus is traveling with Mars now. And so there is a lot of love energy just in general in the world, and you have an opportunity to grab a little piece of that. Now, this is a sextile. That does mean that you need to initiate the action. So you have to, call the person or text them, or you need to start the conversation. And then once the ball is rolling, then things, can be, you can receive some energy. But initially think about starting something, again, even just texting someone to say hi, and that could get things going. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, even though Venus is not making an aspect with Pluto, Venus and Mars are sitting together in your house of home and family, right at the base of your chart. And so when you're at home, I think that your relations with each other can be quite good. If you find maybe you're traveling or something like that, perhaps then you might have a little disconnect. Maybe you want to go one place and they want to go another place. But when you're at home, I see a lot of harmony and ability to work together and to communicate. Now, when it comes to friendship, Venus is making a sesquiquadrate to Neptune. So we've talked about the sesquiquadrate a couple of times on this channel, and it is kind of like winning a prize, but then that prize has a lot of responsibilities or some difficulties attached to it. So it's kind of a little bit of a mixed blessing. And so when it comes to friendships, it could be that, yes, you can get more friends, but then you have to keep up those friendships. And that means scheduling time to talk with them and be with them. Or that you do find a friend, but that friend comes with some other baggage or things like that. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag. This energy is going to line up better in the future. So you may want to wait or just go in, with eyes open. Now, when it comes to your money, this is where the new moon is. Plus, you're pulling money from Mercury, which is in your house of money. So you've got a lot of money opportunities. And this could mean that some new money source is here and it's there for the taking. And so this is something where if you don't see it, because of course you do Gemini in this house, you have to start by asking questions of where is new sources of money? How do I get a hold of this? How can I maintain money, or how can I diversify what I'm doing? So all of these types of questions can really help you, again, to illuminate the path. That's what's most important with this Neptune square. Now, when it comes to money from business or investments, Mercury is making a semi-sextile to Jupiter, which does indicate that there is a little tiny bit of extra money this month that is possible. Some of it is, though, when you manage the details of your life, then you can find it. So to me, this is less about extra money you're getting, but more like you find you have duplicate apps, and so you cancel one and it saves you $20 a month. Or that you change shipping methods, and so that's saving you, a couple $100 a month, that sort of thing. And that's why you're making more money. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so like a paycheck, Mercury is not making an aspect with Neptune, and these two are going to line up in the future. So right now, it doesn't seem like the right time, and it's probable that your mind is elsewhere anyway, that you are thinking about other possibilities, maybe the far future, maybe you're thinking about starting to look for something else. So it's really not the right time to approach about a raise. If, on the other hand, if they come to you, then by all means talk to them. But recognize that this will line up in the future, and there'll be some really good times for you to go in and say you want more money. Okay, Gemini, this is your new moon, and that means that you're starting your new lunar year. So you want to try to do as many new things during this time as possible. So especially during the first 2 weeks, you can extend that to the first month, but the more seeds you plant, metaphoric seeds, the bigger your harvest is going to be. And so that doesn't mean that you have to do gigantic new things. I mean, you can do something small, like going to a different restaurant, taking a different route to work, talking to some new people. So just doing any new things can plant seeds for the future. Now, you're getting the square to Neptune in your house of career and reputation. And so this is where maybe you need to have a new vision of your career itself, like what industry you want to work in or what you want to do, or maybe you want to switch from working for somebody else to having your own business. This is also about your reputation or social standing. So if you wanted to gain an audience for your podcast, or you want people to buy your books or see your art, this is what you're visualizing, the crowds of people coming to you, and then you can illuminate the path that took you to that destination. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Venus is making a sextile to Mercury, and Mercury is in your first house. The new moon is there. You're very noticeable. This is a really great time to go meet new people. And so any social situations that you can get into where you can meet new people, or let somebody fix you up on a date, or go decide to do a matchmaker, or somebody who is winking at you on one of those apps, go out at least for a coffee date, because you have some really good energy here. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Mercury is making a semi-sextile to Jupiter. And so there is, for the most part, you guys are okay, but there may be something where you're wanting your partner to show up, either physically or emotionally for you, and they may be absent, they may be distracted, and this could be a little bit of frustration. It doesn't show to be this huge thing, but this is something that if you comment on it, if you deal with it right then, perhaps you can solve this problem for the long term. So that's why it comes up as a possibility. So this is a small problem that there may be a remedy for. Now, when it comes to friendships, Mercury's making a sextile to Mars, so there is a great opportunity here to meet new people for friendships. And so you might want to go to social events and parties or meetup groups, because you could really meet someone now. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from that moon, which is making the square to Neptune. So you have two possibilities here. One is that you can envision a future and then use that Neptune to light up the practical steps that you need to take to get there. Or you can envision a future that's all rosy and sweet. You have no idea how you're going to get there, and you leave it at that. And that's not the way to do it. Because if you're only picturing that in a few years you're going to have millions of dollars and, gems and horses or whatever, that doesn't get you to that place. That's just kind of like watching a TV show. what the best use for Neptune is to envision this future and then turn around on your path and look at the breadcrumbs of how you got to that place. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, the moon's not making an aspect with Saturn. And with this placement, I'm thinking that right now your reputation is quite important. And so this may be that you're actually spending money to boost your social media standing or to hone your brand. This may be that you are shifting some investments so they're more in line with your code or your beliefs. And so you're actually, you're using money right now to do something for the long term. And then when it comes to money derived from career, so like a paycheck, the moon's not making an aspect with Mars. Now these will line up in the future, but right now it's more like, even if you sat down and talked to your boss about a raise, it's just talk and nothing seems to come of it. So you do want to wait until you have some better aspects. They will be coming up. So right now you just wait. Okay, Cancer, you guys are doing this new moon in your 12th house. This is about psychic ability and, going within, looking at your shadow self, basically looking at what's happened over the past year and saying, okay, this part worked and this part didn't. And it's making a square to Neptune that is elevated in your chart. It's in your house of both education and travel. And so the envisioning that you might be doing could be that you're going back to college or that you are doing all the video courses that you bought, because we've all bought video courses. So, or perhaps this is that you are picturing yourself in this exotic destination, and then using that Neptune energy, you want to turn and see how you made it through, on that path. How did you get to this wonderful location? How did travel happen in your life? Now, yours of the square is particularly strong because the sun and moon in this new moon are in the kind of the house we associate with Neptune. And so you have some extra ability right now to envision and to get answers from the universe and to use your intuition to guide you. So you have some really good energy for making a picture of what you're going to manifest. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, the moon's making an inconjunct to Pluto. That means that you could meet someone, but they're very different than what you were expecting. Like, you show up at the date and they look different, they talk different, everything you were picturing, they are not. Now, does that mean that it's a fail? Not necessarily. This might be the differences might be so interesting, to make this all very intriguing and, kind of help you explore some different aspects of dating itself. So there is some energy here for that. You're pretty visible, so this may be that somebody's pursuing you and you don't know if it's a match, but maybe just have coffee, Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, the moon's not making an aspect with Saturn. And the way everything's lined up, it does look like the two of you are kind of in your own little worlds. And so, you're doing your thing and the other person's doing their thing. And maybe you're in the same house. Maybe you're not even in the same house right now because one of you's traveling or you're working different shifts or something. But it doesn't look like you're really coming together unless you're, actually in the same bed. And then if that's the case, you might be sending psychic messages back and forth. So if you are, then make them intentional messages. Now, when it comes to friendships, the moon's making a semi-square to Venus. You also have the North Node, Jupiter, and Uranus in that house. And that means that there are some friendship opportunities. These could be people who you find so interesting and so different, but there is a hurdle to getting to meet these people, and that is maybe that when you get to the venue, they are surrounded by other people, or that they are the last person you meet, and so you had to stay till the very end. Like, there's something where it's a little bit difficult, but when you meet the person, a friendship could form. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from the sun, which is in your hidden house. And so that is that your intuition is guiding you, or that you're feeling guided by the universe. You also have Venus conjunct Mars in that house. So there is a lot of activity going on now. Now, the thing is that with Venus and Mars there together, there can be a real, I want, I buy sort of energy. And in this buy now culture, you could end up with a lot of stuff and therefore less cash. Now, if you are buying things and of course they're returnable, yay, then you're fine. But you may find that you're doing a little extra shopping because these two are conjunct in your house of money. Now, this also is if you want to make more money, you then instantly know the action that you need to take to get it. That's wonderful. And so you could say, oh, look, I see an opportunity for a sale, and then you go and you get that sale. Great. There's two sides to this one. Now, when it comes to investments or money from your business, the sun's making a semi-sextile to Uranus. So that means when you handle the details, then you find that you're making more money. But it's not a huge amount of money. And so what I'm expecting is by streamlining your operation, you save yourself some money. Perhaps you find that, there's a cheaper app to be using, or that you didn't need the big suite that you got. So you hone it down to a couple of apps, and that saves you money. So this is more about you save some money and then your bottom line looks better. And then when it comes to money derived from career, you've got some interesting energy. You've got very strong money houses with Venus and Mars in your second house. And then you have North Node, Jupiter, and Uranus in your 11th house, the house of money derived from career. So you've got the sun making a semi-square to Venus. So we got three components and they are all working almost together. That semi-square is kind of like we're driving, but maybe with a flat tire. And so there's, we have to go slow. We're afraid we're going to ruin the rim. I'm trying to do a car analogy and I don't know that much about cars. So, but the point is that if you can get in and ask for the raise and all of that, it should go well. It's going to be a bit of a challenge either to work up the courage to ask or to hunt your manager down and sit them down and ask. So there is some sort of challenge, but as I said, the outcome could be good. Okay, Leo, you guys are doing this new moon in your house of community and friendships, as well as the future. And so there may be these new ideas that you're having that are coming from people around you, maybe through YouTube or through people you know. And this is making a square to that Neptune in your house of business income and passive income. So this may all be about how you can move from being in a job to building a business, or taking the business you have and making it stronger, or creating passive income sources. Stumbled over that one, didn't I? Passive income sources for yourself. So this is that someone else may give you the idea. And so then as you visualize yourself in that role, then you may actually look back at the path and see the path they took. And you might have to make some detours or, make some changes. Or you look back at the path and you say, all right, they did it a different way. I'm going to do it this way. But that's how you can use the Neptune to illuminate this path for you. Neptune being in the 8th house also is representing power for you, and that is about choice. And so when you have, power over your life and your time, and you get to say, that's also something to visualize. How did you get there? What was that journey like? Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, the sun's not making an aspect with Jupiter, but you have Venus conjunct Mars in your own sign. And so that's really wonderful for relationship energy. But what's more likely here is, even though this is a new moon, it's probable that if you're getting into a love relationship, it's probably someone you know already. The sun and moon are in that house of friendship. So this would be a person who was a friend or an acquaintance, and now they are changing, or the friendship dynamic is changing into a romantic relationship. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, the Sun's making a semi-sextile to Uranus, and as I said, Venus and Mars are in your own sign, so that's a plus. The semi-sextile is a little bit where there's some irritations or some scheduling issues, or there's something that's bothering one or both of you, and you right now have more of a chance of working this out if you'll have an open dialogue about it, because you do have that very nice Venus-Mars conjunction going on. So find what is irritating you and deal with it head on, and you could be quite happy because a problem could be solved. Now, when it comes to friendships, even though the Sun's not making an aspect with Mercury, they're all in the same sign, and you have a full 11th house. That all speaks to friendships are possible. So it's definitely worthwhile to go to the event or go to the party where you can meet new people, because you could find some friends. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from that Mercury, which is in that 11th house that we were talking about. Now, that's also the house of technology. So this may be that you are looking at ways to make money where you incorporate some new technologies, or that you're finding that using some new technologies to some old systems you have is increasing your productivity. So this is some of the ways that you could be making more money during this 2-week period. Now, when it comes to money from investments or money from your business, Mercury is not making an aspect with Neptune. So I think you're making about the same as usual, because Neptune's in a money house, Mercury's in a money house, but they're just not talking to each other at the moment. So it's more like the money is there, you know it's going to come to you, but it's not reaching you during the 2-week period. Now, it's a different story when we look at money derived from career, so like a paycheck, because Mercury is making almost a perfect sextile to Venus, which is in your own sign. So that is that the money is arriving in your hands. And so that might be that the negotiations for the raise already happened, and now it's showing up in your paycheck, or you're getting a bonus, or a better commission percentage. You're getting something that looks like you're going to be making more money than usual, especially over this next 2 weeks. But in your case, it may continue. Okay, Virgo, you guys are doing this new moon up at the top of your chart. So this is about social standing and reputation, as well as your career. So there could be something new happening in this area. And at the same time, it's making the square to Neptune in your house of relationships. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. That Neptune is allowing you to picture a relationship for you, and then you'll be able to see the path that it took to get there. So now, I talk to a lot of people, and have private consultations with them, and I hear a lot of you saying that you are picturing the relationship. The important part is to also picture how you got there. So picturing how you met the person, what caused you to feel like it was okay to give your contact information, or what caused you to feel it was okay to do the 3rd date or the 4th date. What helped you get past the rough parts where the two of you weren't sure if this was going to work? So looking at those steps of the relationship is what you can really use this Neptune for, to manifest this in your life. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Mercury's making a square to Saturn. So that is very strong energy. Saturn's in your house of relationships. Mercury is at the top of your chart, making you super visible. So this is a time to, let somebody fix you up on a date, go to your online profiles and activate those, put new pictures up, go to parties, meet people. You can meet someone new at this time. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, I think everything's going along, without any real bumps in the road. Mercury is not making an aspect with Neptune. Venus is sitting there with Mars in that house where you kind of do things behind closed doors. So I think that when you guys are alone and, get to talk together, things are working out. And then the rest of the time, you're busy doing other things. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from that Venus, which is conjunct Mars, and this is in that house of envisioning things. So this is a house that we often associate the terms with Neptune. So here you've got extra envisioning power right now. That is that if you picture it, you'll see the actions you need to take to manifest it. And so this is about sitting quietly, maybe journaling or going on a walk and picturing the different things that you want to have in your life and the success you want to have. And then, turning your mind in your mind's eye back to see how you got there. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, Venus is conjunct Mars, and that's a wonderful aspect. So there is some opportunities for you to make more money than usual. It looks like something that you're doing, there's almost a viral quality to it. And so that doesn't mean that it's going to, explode or something, but that you could get more traction on ads, that you could make more sales, that you could see your securities rise. So you're doing some very good energy for making more money than usual over the next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be like a paycheck, Venus is making a semi-square to the moon. Now, you have a strong career house. So if you're negotiating for a higher salary going into a job, it makes perfect sense that there's going to feel a little bit of that semi-square, like there's a hurdle you have to cross, like you have to go back and forth and, find some sort of middle ground. If you are asking your supervisor for a raise, it's possible that they are going to suggest to you that you take a higher position or position with more responsibility or a different shift or something. So, and you'll need to weigh those. But there's also this energy that when you ask at this time, that actually gets you more respect, that gets you more accolades just because you asked. So even if you don't get the raise, your clout is rising because you asked. Okay, Libra, you guys are doing that new moon in your house of big thinking, travel, education. And so there are some real opportunities here for thinking about like who you are, what your story is, and where you want to take that. And it's making a square to Neptune in your house of daily routines. And so this is kind of like where you have the big picture, you have the idea, and you've had it already. And now the Neptune part of this is you envision what your daily life would be like first when you've accomplished this. And then on the steps of the journey, what was it like? Was there periods where you were working a lot? Were there periods where you had help? So as you are turning and illuminating this path and seeing how you got there, then you can say, all right, I need a system here or I need some help there. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Venus is not making an aspect with Uranus. And so the energy of this chart is very much more about friendships or even finding like a teacher or mentor or somebody who inspires you. So not so much about an equal love relationship in that case. I mean, maybe with a friendship. And it's possible that how you're using this energy is that you and a friend are just at the beginnings of a love relationship. And so you're still not certain if that's the direction you want to go. So that's the kind of energy that you're doing over the next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, it's a whole different story. Venus is conjunct Mars in your house of friendships. The two of you could get along very, very well. Like you're friends with each other. You're supporting each other. You're helping each other. So the energy is really good for strengthening your relationship. And when it comes to friendships, the Sun is making a semi-square to Venus. So that means that if you can get to the party, you could meet someone who becomes a friend. And of course, subsequently then a lover. But if you're going to find some obstacles to get to the party or get to the social event, or you just don't want to. There's going to be something that holds you back because it's a semi-square. But once you arrive, then things could go pretty well. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from that Pluto that has now gone back into Capricorn. It's visiting your house of home and family. And so you're looking at maybe family ideas about money, and maybe the families come to you and said, we would prefer if you made money, with the job, or that you get out of your job and you go towards this. You're also pulling money from that Mars, which is sitting there in your house of technology with Venus. And so there could be a real desire to spend money on technology right now, or at least incorporate new technologies so that you could make more money. So, in some ways that could be really good. Maybe you increase your productivity using some new app, but it also could be that now you need a new computer, or you need more processing power, or something that is costing you a little bit of money. So that's where your focus is when it comes to money. Now, when it comes to money from business or money derived from investments, Pluto is not making an aspect with Venus, but Mars is. And so you have a very strong ability to make money when it comes to your own business or investments. Money does seem to be rolling in. A lot of energy here looks like it's coming from expected sources, or people who have bought from you before, or the stocks that have gone up in the past, they're going up again, that sort of thing. So it's a little bit more expected, not really a surprise. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so like a paycheck, the Sun is making an inconjunct to Pluto. So you can get more money, but there are some sort of adjustments that you would need to make. These may be centered around how much travel that you're going to do for your job, whether you can work at home, or some sort of flexibility in your schedule. There also may be some sort of credentials that you need, or you have to pass a test to get a higher wage. So there is some sort of hurdle that you need to go over before you get the more money, the additional money. Okay, Scorpio, you guys are doing this new moon in your house of power as well as resources from others. And so this is about whether you believe that you have power to make things happen, or do you feel like other people can stand in your way and stop you, and that there's only one way to get what you want, and then they become an obstacle. Now, this new moon is doing a square to Neptune that's in your house of creativity, risk-taking, as well as romance and children. We'll talk about romance in a second. So let's start with children. So if that's something that you're wanting in your life, maybe that's what you're going to envision, and then look back on that path and see how you got there. Maybe it's better relationships with your children. And so again, you're picturing what that relationship would be like, and then all of the steps it took to get there. So while you are having that sun moon in that house of power, where you get a little bit more control over the situation, or that you can see what the person, or the kids in this case, need or want, and then you can say, okay, we can do a compromise here. Now, this is also your area of creativity and risk-taking, and so visualizing yourself doing something maybe that's really fun that you've wanted to do, like backpacking through Europe, or climbing up El Capitan, or jumping out of a plane, or something like that, and visualizing the steps it took to get there. Or maybe it's about your creativity, where you're up on stage singing or dancing or doing improv. So that's how you can use this Neptune. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Neptune is making a sextile to Pluto, and now they are not out of sign anymore. They are just a normal sextile. So again, you're back with this opportunity. This is going to continue for the rest of the year. You've got a good house of relationships. You've got a good house of intimacy. So this is, and Venus and Mars are elevated in your chart. So like everything now is lining up for good energy for love relationships. So this is, and plus with the Neptune there, if you have not found somebody, if you've been looking, it's time to go out and visualize the individual steps for meeting the person. Maybe you already pictured how you're going to have this love relationship and how you're going to get married, etc. But you have to picture how you meet them. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Venus is not making an aspect with Pluto, but you still have a pretty good house of relationships. So I do think that things are going along pretty well. I think that the two of you could have some good discussions, work out some things, but in general, the focus for both of you seems to be outward from the relationship. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from that Jupiter that is in your house of relationships, partnerships, and collaborations. That means the more people you meet, the more money you make. Jupiter has passed that conjunction with the North Node. So now you're taking maybe some of the people that you've met over the last few weeks and strengthening those connections. That can help, even just reaching out to them and saying, I really enjoyed meeting you, could get the conversation going again. Now, when it comes to money from your business or from investments, it looks like you're making more than usual, especially when you pay attention to the details. You've got a very strong money house with Mercury, Sun, and Moon there. But, of course, when they're in your eighth house, they're all in Gemini, and that is a lot of moving parts. And so it's really time to tighten up the procedures and make the ship run a little bit more efficiently, and that's going to bring you more money. So you're making a little bit more or moderate more money this time, but it is because you're going in and looking at routines and systems and making them better. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that's like a paycheck, because that Mercury is in that house of benefits and resources, it's more likely that you're going to get some sort of perk rather than actual cash. So you can, ask for the raise, and maybe they say, hey, we'll give you some stock, or, you can have a more flexible schedule or more time working at home. So that's, if that's your goal, you might want to ask for both the money and the perk, and I think you'll end up with the perk. Okay, Sagittarius, you guys are doing this new moon in your house of relationships, partnerships, and collaborations. And so there may be a time where you're doing a lot of talking with your partner or other people about what they're doing and how their lives are going. And that could inspire you to have some ideas. Now, you're doing, of course, everybody's doing, that's square to Neptune. For you, though, it's in your house of home and family. And so maybe this is about visualizing having a home, something that you own, or bringing the family together. So in either case, what you want to do is you want to visualize not just having this home and owning this place outright, but how did you get there? How did you find the place? How did you start financing it? Even maybe going back before you found it, how did you save for the down payment? And then in the process, how did you get the house paid off? What did you do when things, needed a roof or things like that? The same with your family. If you're looking about family relations, visualizing why suddenly you and your kids do get along and they're staying at home and there's family game night. What is the thing that's helping all of this? If you visualize this, that's when the universe can then give you opportunities. So that's what you're doing with this square. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Jupiter's not making an aspect with Mars. You do have a good relationship house because the new moon is there. So what I think is going on is it's not somebody new. It's somebody you dated before or somebody who you are dating now, and then the energy is good. But trying to meet somebody new may feel like that you're chasing someone who's not interested and someone's chasing you and you're not interested. So because there's a little bit of a disconnect happening. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Jupiter's making a semi-sextile to Mercury. So you guys are coming together, and that's great. You are working out some of the details of life. And this might be that if you can work out these smaller things, that your relationship goes much better. And so, maybe this is you need a different type of laundry hamper, and then your partner can get their clothes in the hamper. Or you work out a little different bathroom schedule so that you don't feel like you're crowding each other. So there is an opportunity to have a better love relationship by working on the little things. Now, when it comes to friendships, Venus is making a square to Jupiter, yeah, and you have a strong house of relationships. So this is a really opportune time to go meet some new friends. Now, this could be that you're just out in the world and you see somebody and you've known them before and now a friendship could be established, or you're going to a new hobby club, conference, a convention where like-minded people are, and you can meet a lot of people and establish some connections. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Saturn, and Saturn's going to be receiving a sextile from Jupiter during this 2-week period. Now, that's a really interesting energy because the Jupiter is this very, big, I can do anything sort of energy, and then the Saturn's a little bit more like, I'm not sure if I can do this, and it holds back a little bit. We call this a push-pull aspect. There is opportunities to move forward, and then you take a step back and you see how things are going, and then you push forward and so forth. And so this is a great thing to use when you are doing any sort of money matters, and that is, you really push forward maybe on investments or a business, and then you step back and say, okay, let the dust settle and say, all right, is it working? What is the response? How do I feel about it? And you move, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and you actually make more progress than you would normally. Now, when it comes to money from business or money from your investments, you're making about the same as usual. Saturn's not making an aspect with the moon. And so this is a little bit more about working on the foundation of things, but also very much about making new contacts. So it's possible maybe you're doing some sort of brand deal, but it's not set in stone yet, or you have a new employment contract, but it hasn't been signed yet. So things are in the works, just haven't come, full. It hasn't all happened yet. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be like a paycheck, Venus is making an inconjunct to Saturn. So an inconjunct is not a great aspect, however, it is still an aspect. So that means if you're willing to go through all of the different ins and outs to get your boss to sit down and talk it through and negotiate back and forth and tell them why you need the raise and what you've done for the company, and let them go to their boss and see what they can do. Like, if you do that, you are going to win. But the problem is that that's a lot of steps to take, and this is going to line up better in the future, so you may just want to wait. Okay, Capricorn, you guys are doing this new moon, lighting up your house of daily routines, health and well-being. So there's very much some energy now about how you get things done, what your schedule's like, where you put in the things you want to do, and where you put in your obligations. And this is making a square to Neptune in your house of physical activities. So writing, singing, dancing, teaching, so juggling, editing videos, anything that you want to learn, that's where the Neptune is. And it starts with first envisioning yourself doing that thing, and then turning and looking at the path and seeing how you got there. And you may say, well, it's obvious, that you have to do the tutorials and then it happens. But having these come together where your schedule is matching up with the things that you want to do allows you to break things down into manageable parts and then say, okay, today I'm doing this part, and then tomorrow I'm doing this part, and so forth. So this could put you on a path to real productivity where you're not, running yourself ragged, where it's actually easy and comfortable to get the things done that you want to get done. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Venus is making an inconjunct with Saturn. Now, you have a strong relationship house, so I think how this is going to manifest is you meet someone and they are totally different than you were expecting. They don't look like their picture. They don't sound like you thought they would. They have some very different ideas, and this could make it actually quite intriguing to go out with them because they are unlike any person you've dated before, and same with you. So you might want to either, try the date and try a second date, or actually intentionally go out with people who you don't necessarily look for a dating partner and see how it goes. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, the moon's not making an aspect with Saturn, and you have a very strong house of daily routine. So it really looks like the two of you are so focused on your daily lives, you're not really coming together to work on the relationship. You can still be there to support each other, to help each other out. And intimate times look pretty good because Venus is conjunct Mars in the 8th house. Yay. So, but for the most part, you're not actually working on the relationship. You're just both getting your stuff done. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Uranus, which is in your house of creativity. It's going to be there a while, as well as that Saturn, which is in Pisces. Now, the Saturn is going to receive a sextile from Jupiter during this 2-week period. Now, that's a really interesting aspect because Jupiter is about expansion and, going and doing something that's exciting, like an adventure. And Saturn is more prudent, and it's going to hang back and say, okay, I want to do this carefully. I want to do it precisely and perfectly. And so when you have this combination, what can happen is you can leap forward and then step back and see how things go, and then leap forward again and then step back and see how they go. This might mean that you're launching a product and then testing the marketplace to see about then launching 2 or 3 products and then stepping back and seeing how it's going and then launching a dozen products and so forth. So it's a leapfrog forward and then a slide back so that you can, kind of test your theories and test the marketplace. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, the sun's making a semi-sextile to Uranus, so you're making a little bit more than usual. It's interesting because Venus is conjunct Mars in that house of business income, and it's good for making money, definitely good for making money. It's also really good for spending money because Venus is I want and Mars is action, and in our buy now culture, it's so easy to hit that buy now button. So if your hand's hovering over that button, make sure that whatever it is returnable or something you really need, because you could get a little shopping happy during this time. Now, when it comes to money from career, so that would be like a paycheck, Mars is making a square to Uranus. That is a very strong aspect. Plus, this new moon is in your house of work. And so you have a really good chance of telling your boss, I need more money, and your boss says, yes, I'm going to help you get that more money or the better position or, different desk, different coworkers, a new assistant. So you really could get some perks. This is something where you may be feeling really compelled to do it. Like you just can't wait any longer, and it is okay to move forward in this area. Okay, Aquarius, you guys are doing this new moon in your house of creativity, fun, adventure. It's also in the area of children and romance. We'll talk about romance in a second. So but these are kind of the things that, you can take some steps to do something new in. Now, it's making a square to Neptune in your house of money. So this may be that you are envisioning just how to have more money so that you can do more fun things, or because this is the square, so you can do either side of it, how the fun things could bring more money. But what's most important, as we've been talking about, is that once you picture the ultimate destination, you need to turn and look at the path and picture the steps on the path. What got you to that place? And if you find that there is some place that is unclear, that it's cloudy, that you need to stay in that moment until that fog clears and see what you're afraid of or what the obstacle is or what it is that you need that may be external to yourself that you have to bring into your life to make this happen. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Uranus is not making an aspect with Mercury. However, the new moon is there, Mercury is there. You have Venus conjunct Mars in your house of relationships. Like, there's so much relationship energy for you right now. The fact that there's no aspect to me says that somebody wants to go out with you, or maybe several people want to go out with you, and you seem to be very focused on other things. And so you may want to take a friend with you when you're out so that they can point out all the people who are looking at you and trying to get your attention. So this is very good energy. So if you will stop and look and wait, I think that some love can come into your life. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, the Sun's making a semi-sextile with Uranus, and Venus is conjunct Mars in that house. Fabulous energy. The semi-sextile says that you can work out little issues that have been bothering you, that your partner will say, oh, I didn't know that bothered you. And so then you can come together. But most of this energy is that the two of you are on the same page, you're heading in the same direction, so your vision seems to be harmonizing. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from that Jupiter at the base of your chart. That's about, what your family believed about money, or getting resources from family members. So that's a possibility. But you're also pulling money from that Neptune, which is the star of this video. So that is that through visualization or through magic, through meditation, through affirmations, you can put yourself on the money path. This is about looking at, how, are you open to it, or are you angry with money, or are you angry with wealthy people? So looking at the issues, clearing those out. If when you think about money or handling money, you suddenly start playing a video game, then there's an issue here. You're trying to escape. So it is to come back and say, maybe you don't feel very math-minded, but you're going to do the spreadsheet anyway, and you're going to do the budget. And so those are the things that really help you to make the kind of money that you want to make. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, you're making about the same as usual. Mercury's not making an aspect with Neptune. So it feels like things are going in the right direction, but it may not be time to take profits. Or because you have such a strong house of creativity, you are coming up with new ideas, but you haven't launched these ideas yet. So it looks like you're in process. And then when it comes to money derived from career, so like a paycheck, Jupiter's not making an aspect with Neptune. So again, most of this energy around money right now is about visualization and working through the issues that you have, whatever blocks come up, whatever feels like it's going to pull you off your path, and less right now about actually sitting down with the boss and asking them for money. So there is more opportunities here, because if you can clear out that path for money to reach you, then these other things become less important. Okay, Pisces, you guys are doing this new moon right at the base of your chart in the area of home and family. And so there's a lot of energy around, where you live, if you are moving, if you're doing some redecorating or some renovations. Family members may be coming home. Maybe kids have gotten out of school and now they're home more. And this is also doing that square to Neptune in your own sign of Pisces. And so Neptune's been in your sign for a long time, and it's going to still be there until at least 2025. And then it's going to go back and forth a little bit. So you have a lot of time still to utilize Neptune far more than the other signs. And that is to really hone this ability to visualize, to create something in your mind, and then clear the path so that this thing can come to you. Find where you're hesitant, find the obstacles, and figure out the solutions in your mind, and then the universe will bring you opportunities. Now, because Neptune is in your first house, and that's where it's been for a while, this is about visualizing great relationships, feeling comfortable and easy around people, whether they be strangers, whether they be billionaires, to really be comfortable with who you are. So that's where this visualization can really help. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, the moon, of course, is making a square to Neptune, so there's a big opportunity here to meet someone. Venus is conjunct Mars in your house of work and daily routine. So that could be meeting somebody at Starbucks, or meeting somebody connected to your job or at your gym. But this is also, of course, very much about visualizing ways you could meet someone. With the moon and sun, of course, in your fourth house, you have to get out of the house. This is possibly the biggest obstacle for you, is just getting out of the house. That maybe you just like to be home, or you don't know where to go. But if you can step out the door, there are opportunities. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, there's no aspect going on between Mercury and Neptune. However, you have a really nice house of home, and that is with the Mercury, Sun, and Moon. So I think that when you're at home, things are going along pretty well. You know, it feels to me like you're not really working on the relationship, but that you're just comfortably there. And so, you know, you're watching TV together, you're making dinner together, you're dealing with the kids together. And so that's where the harmony is. And you can work out the issues or problems outside this 2-week period. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Mars, which is conjunct Venus. That's actually a very powerful combination. It's in your house of work and daily routines. So that is, if you can infuse the desire that you want something, you know, you want to create a business, you want to learn voiceover, you want to, you know, put out your music. Like, if you want it, then it's right there to take the action. And the order that they're in right now is desire, then action. So you can pull in that Venus and say, you know, even if it's something you don't necessarily think is going to be that fun, you could try to find the fun parts of it, and then your productivity just goes through the roof. So there's some really great opportunities here. But first, start with the desire or that you want it, and then the action happens. Now, when it comes to money derived from your business or from investments, Venus is conjunct Mars. This is really excellent energy, very strong about work. So that means that, yes, you're making more money and you're working at it. So you might be working side by side with employees, or you're packing orders, or you're answering customer service questions. You could be actively doing your investing. So there is definitely a lot of activity going on, but you are making more money than usual over this next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so like a paycheck, Mars is not making an aspect with Saturn, and you have almost everything below the horizon, so you're not that visible right now. So that means that it's more about maybe working at home or staying under the radar, rather than getting more money. In other words, time to make plans when it comes to your career versus actually taking action. This time for action will be coming up. It's just outside this 2-week period. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe and stay tuned, because LaRue wants to say hi.